Hey everybody, this is Hector with the Faith and Fandom podcast. Sorry for being MIA. Life has been bananas, and yep, that about covers it. I know that as the last few months, our podcasting has just straight up, let's be honest, not been exactly deliberate on my part. My goal has always been to have people on the podcast and to interview different people in Artist Alley and all these things, and it's what I want to do. But realistically, when I'm in the middle of a con, I'm tired, and other people are busy, and it's hard to get them to all get our ducks in our respective rows. And con season has taken its little breather, and we're getting back into the swing of things and gearing up in the near future. So I'm really hoping that at some of my upcoming cons, I'll be able to do some recording, talk to some people, and bring you some cool guests and features and intentional content and not, let's say, second rate or aftermarket content. But, I'm having a blast doing the Pull List podcast with Chris Boyer, and that's been great. And in reality, that takes a lot of my podcasting effort to sit down, every week or every other week, and we actually have notes and grown up things. And then I've had the really cool opportunity to be doing the radio spots for Back Row Radio, and really enjoyed their stuff. So a lot of my podcasting has been just not deliberate for Faith and Fandom, because Faith and Fandom has been getting other parts of me. So I'm sorry if you've missed me and I've missed you, but hey, let's have a conversation, or at least I'm going to talk to you like it's a one-sided conversation. And sorry if I ever talk to you in a real life setting and have a one-sided conversation with that too, because I am known for that. And here's another way I failed you. If you haven't been following our social media, today, which is Friday, September 6th, is the last day you can get all 6 being the main series, and the 7th, your kids book, and my youth ministry book. Today is the last day you can get all of my books for free on Kindle for the year, probably. I try and do this whenever con season is in a lull, and just take a break just to bless people with books. And my goal was to do it on the Pull List podcast, and I forgot to. And my goal was also to do it at the beginning of this week, and it got busy and I didn't. So if you've somehow missed it and you actually listen to this podcast today, head on over to Amazon and download all the books on Kindle if you haven't. And if you're getting this in like 2 weeks and you're sad, shoot me an email and I'll just mail you PDFs, and we can pretend you downloaded them with everybody else, which has been really cool though, because thus far, I haven't checked today, we had 2,500 downloads of books this week. So today, in four and a half days time, we had 2,500 people download books. And that's dope. I'm really excited for that. If you've known me or known my heart for any of this stuff, it's never been about profit, because there isn't any. But what it has been about is getting this word out to people in the best way possible. And for some people, that's buying something at a Comic-Con. For some people, it's listening to this podcast or other podcasts. And some people will only pick up a book if it's free, and I don't blame them. So all the books are free. They're free today, I think, until midnight Pacific time, so it'd be like 2 a.m. So you got a little bit of time. Pick those up, because I'm going to publish this as soon as this is over. So, yeah, that's been cool. Some other neat stuff going on. We just did Library Con. This is my first time being back at Library Con in 2 years. Because the last 2 years I was at Dragon Con, and I could not do Dragon Con again this year. Coming off the heels of San Diego, I just straight up, here's the deal, I chose not to go to Dragon Con before I even knew I was doing San Diego, so don't even let me make that excuse. I just needed a break, because it's stressful, and I don't need that in my life. I needed a quiet little show at a library. It'd be happy, and so that's good for me. But yeah, I got to do Library Con, and that was fun to be back in my local town and do that. Some other cool stuff coming up. On September 14th, there is a book festival, author festival, writer festival, whatever you want to call it. There is a festival for books that is going to be free at Robinson Community College, and it'll go from 9:30 to 4. And you can totally come out and hang out with me. I'll have all the books, and probably just books because they're not about that merch life. But I will be out there with the books and have that displayed if you want to come check it out. So that'll be fun. That event got flooded out last year because of Hurricane Florence. So that event is coming up. I will be at Ground Zero Ministries in Myrtle Beach on September 21st. It is a youth ministry training day, and I'm going to take my youth ministry staff to go there for the training, but I'm also going to have the books on display and for sale if you want to check them out or get them. That will be at Myrtle Beach on September 21st, and then we will be at Union County Public Library SuperCon, UCPL SuperCon in Monroe, North Carolina on September 28th. And I do believe also on that same day, there's a cool con going on at Pastor Zach Harris's church in Wilson, North Carolina. It's a Lutheran church in Wilson, North Carolina, and they do a super dope Comic-Con at their church, and I would love to be there, but I had previously made this investment and commitment, so I will be at UCPL SuperCon. And so that's pretty cool. A couple other quick dates and stuff if you care, if you want to meet up, see me, hang out, whatever. Originally, I was going to be at Conapalooza in Tennessee, and I wanted to do that show. It's a show I'm a fan of, and I did not mute my Facebook. Sorry. But I had a work function come up. If you know me, you know I've been a part of Next Fest for years and years and years. Love Next Fest, and normally Next Fest is the first weekend of October, and so I always book my shows on that. But this year it is moved, so I had to move my calendar with it to be where Next Fest is. But a cool thing is that this year Andy Mineo is going to be at Next Fest. And if I'm understanding my life correctly, I'm going to be emceeing that event and possibly DJing, and also have Faith and Fandom set up there. So that's bananas, is the biblical term for that. But it's a $10 concert. It's going to be Colton Dixon, Andy Mineo, Britt Nicole, JJ Weeks, and I'm going to be out there playing in between songs, introducing people. The Faith and Fandom will be out there, so it's going to be cool. It's going to be a cool day. But that is October 12th. It is $10. It is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. October 19th and 20th is the one and only Fayetteville Comic-Con. It is my local show. It is my hometown show. It is the show I need to pump and invest the most into because it's my people. It's going to be a lot of cool stuff. You've got some Dragon Ball Z actors. You've got the motion capture actors for Godzilla. You've got Goyle from Harry Potter. You've got a lot of cool stuff. You got airborne aerialists. We are going to have a Geek Church service Sunday morning, October 20th at Fayetteville Comic-Con, and that's just fresh to death. So that's coming up. And then October 26th and 7th, we are going to be at Empire Comic-Con in Savannah, Georgia. My cool friends Hugo and Amanda Soto are running that event, and it's their first one doing it, and I want to be there and be supportive and rock out with them. They have a great guest list. They got Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters, the dude who is the voice actor for Darkwing Duck and Winnie the Pooh, and a million other things, some of the Power Rangers. Just going to be a great show. And then, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into a whole calendar event. And then another show I've got and I'm super pumped. This is news development. I'm going to be at Marble City Comic-Con in November, and Marble City is technically Knoxville, but Marble City Comic-Con this year is in Sevierville, Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburgish area, and they actually have me as a guest, which is super cool. Always honored to be a guest at shows. Technically, I'm a guest at all the shows in October, I think. So, yeah, rock on. But I'm a guest at Marble City, and beyond that just being cool, Kevin Smith is bringing his Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie to the con, and there's going to be a screening of his new movie with Jay and with Silent Bob at the theater or the con, where we get to watch it all together. So that's a cool little part of my life where I'm not only a guest at a show, I'm a guest at the same show with Kevin Smith, and we get to watch a movie with Kevin Smith. So zippity doo dah. That's pretty exciting. And to my understanding, that's my last Comic-Con for the year. I don't have anything currently scheduled in December. But that's where life is, and that's what we're working on, and that's where we're moving towards. And I'm excited about it. Because I actually have to spend some time writing a book for book 7, because we got to, keep that hustle and flow going. I'm currently about 60% of the way of writing a book called Flocked Up, which is about sheep still going astray. It's basically a pseudo-loving reminder that the church still is going in the wrong directions in a lot of areas, and what that means and what we can do about it, what Scripture actually says. And that should be out mid-October. And I'm excited about it. It's been a really good journey for my heart just to write it. And my church is going to do a series on it. And you'll be able to catch that out when it's up. My friend Lyle Pollard has done some artwork for it. It's going to be a cool book, but it's talking about the areas that, we kind of suck at equipping. We kind of suck at loving. We kind of suck at, let's see. What was the other stuff? We suck at being the kingdom. We suck at, there are 6 areas I was really focusing on, of just areas we can do better, areas that I think God really gives us clear instructions of what we're supposed to be, and we don't do it. And so in those areas, I wrote this for that capacity, to be that reminder that we need to actually be the things God calls us to be, because we don't. So let me backtrack that and tell you. So it's the areas of equipping, the areas of serving, the areas of love, community, peace, and unity is what's going to be in Flocked Up. So that's kind of the goal. And then I just started work on Faith and Fandom book 7. And by say started work, I had some ideas and wrote some notes on my phone and laptop very briefly. But book 7, which should be coming out in May to June, is going to have a chapter on Vincent and the Doctor, about, the whole scriptural concept of well done, good and faithful servant. I'm watching Doctor Who all the way through with my kids, because my youngest kid is just learning to read, and she's getting to the age where she's retaining things, and I hadn't watched Doctor Who with her yet, in that way. So we started from Eccleston and working our way up, and we just watched Vincent and the Doctor last night. And talking with some of y'all on the internet really made me see how important it is, and what it would be like to actually get to see the reward for your work, the way Vincent did. And I think that was that. There's going to be a chapter on Walking Dead 193, which is on the podcast somewhere from when we did it at GalaxyCon Raleigh. There's going to be a chapter on Captain America and Iron Man, where the first time they're really banging heads together in Avengers, he's saying everything special about you came from a bottle, and that, from a serum, and that he's nothing but a suit. He'd never make the sacrifice play, that kind of stuff. And then to fast forward to the fact that he's worthy to pick up Thor's hammer, and that he was the guy to make the sacrifice play, just to see how they've grown, and what it looks like to actually have that concept of iron sharpening iron, because I really do believe they pushed each other to become who they needed to be and who they were meant to be. And that I think that process really helped. And also just kind of hit the thing with Paul and Barnabas and John Mark about the fact that sometimes you can walk away from people. That doesn't mean you're done with them. So that's going to be a thing. There's going to be a chapter on Hush, the movie / the book, And if you really want to hear me rant and rave about that, you can check out episode 22 of the Pull List podcast, which is up on Love Thy Nerd now, and will be on the Faith and Fandom one maybe next week, of just me losing my mind. I think the last 15 minutes of the podcast are just me having some real strong opinions about that. So you should check that out. There'll be a chapter on Mysterio from Spider-Man. There'll be a chapter on San Diego Comic-Con and that experience, and there'll be some other chapters, obviously, but just kind of getting some foundation and groundwork for it. But it's pretty exciting just to be able to see how things are starting to develop. Another cool development is if you listen to the podcast back in June when we were at Heroes Con, Richard Cutright, who was working on a Shazam themed album, he wanted to add some more content to it, so that is officially coming out, should be officially coming out on September 23rd, and I'm really excited. He's been sharing some of the stuff that he added to it, and I'm grateful to be able to be a part of some creative processes with this stuff. But yeah, it's been really nice. Comic books have been really great lately. I'm actually reading some X-Men again with this House of X and Powers of X. It might be confusing every now and again, but it's still really great. All the things. And DC Universe really did a great job with Titans. And I still haven't watched Swamp Thing past the episode I'm in. I suck at life. My wife and I finally sat down and started watching it, and we made it up to the episode that I'm in, and we haven't watched any past it. Because, it's that whole married relationship thing of fighting for TV time, in which battles are truly worth fighting. And my wife has been really watching a lot of Jane the Virgin lately, and I am not trying to take her chill out TV time from her to watch Swamp Thing. So we're going to let that play out for a while. But, man, I'm grateful for everything. But also DC's Titans started episode 1 today for season 2. I probably will check that out as soon as I load this podcast. All in all, though, it's been a really good fall. We got hit by Hurricane Dorian last night, and it's so nice to be able to come on this podcast and say we're fine. Y'all that were with me a year ago know that the journey was not easy, that the journey was rough, flooding and home damage months that followed and all the things. It was not a pretty situation, and my whole community was shrouded in PTSD surrounding this. But we're so excited to be able to just say, it passed by us. But then you've got people like the Bahamas who truly suffered. And so I'm hoping that there will be people that are as kind to them as the people in my community were to me. So here's hoping with that, and just to be able to be a part of blessing people that are in the struggle. But yep, that's life. That's overall what's going on. I'm excited to get back to work on Faith and Fandom. Once I finish Flocked Up, I will be getting cracking on Faith and Fandom Book 7, at least with the stuff that I've got so far. And, yep, that's my heart. It's where I'm at. I don't remotely even have a geeky theme to tie this into, and I'm not going to try. I just wanted to throw this at you if you actually cared to listen. My pastor team, if you're not familiar, my church is one church in 3 locations virtually. Each location has a pastor. I'm the pastor of one location, and but all of our pastors, like our executive pastor, our lead pastor, the guys that are over us as a whole, we all get together on Mondays and work on our sermons for the week, so that regardless of which location you walk up into, you're going to hear the same message with the same heart and the same direction. And we've been working through a message coming up on a series called Red Letters, where we're just focusing on some of the stuff that Jesus said that was just so powerful. And legit, every time we've hit this passage lately, it's about brought me to tears sitting there in Panera. But in Luke 7, Uh, Luke 7:37 says, a woman in that town who had lived a sinful life learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. So she came there with an alabaster jar of perfume. As she stood behind him at his feet, weeping, she began to wet his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and poured perfume on them. Now, I don't know what's broken my heart in the last few years that just has changed what happens to me when I hear these things, because this used to not affect me, but even just sitting here right now, that jacked me up. And I don't know, it's not even that crazy of a thing, but to have someone that broken come before Jesus, and I think that might be what it is. I think I've been so broken over the last couple years. That's like, I feel that. Like, I feel you, girl. I feel what you've been through, and obviously I don't know what she's been through, but just that one phrase that she began to wet his feet with her tears. Man, that just wrecks me. And that just Jesus' response to it, because the Pharisees freaked out about it and everything. The Pharisees started condemning the whole situation, and Jesus turned it into a teaching moment with disciples, Simon specifically. But in verse 44, I love what Jesus did, obviously. Verse 44 says, then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, do you see this woman? I came into your house. You did not give me any water for my feet. But she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss. But this woman from the time I entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love has shown. But whoever has been forgiven little loves little. Then Jesus said to her, your sins are forgiven. And the other guests began to say among themselves, who is this who forgives sins? Jesus said to the woman, your faith has saved you. Go in peace. Just that phrase, therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, as her great love is shown. I think it's just this moment where you realize that when you realize how broken you are, when you realize how hurt you are, when you realize how in need you are, coming before God, coming before Jesus, coming to that moment of the one place that you're welcome and forgiven, and that you're not judged and you're not hurting, it makes all the difference. It really just does make everything. Because I have been watching Doctor Who a lot lately. It's that moment, like at the end of Matt Smith's tenure, where he's about to regenerate, and Amy shows up out of nowhere, and it's that one place you can go to where you're loved and welcomed and accepted and forgiven, and she says Raggedy Man goodbye. And even with 12 when he regenerated, they brought Clara. I mean, it's just that thing of that place, that when you go, you're loved and accepted and welcomed regardless of where you've been and what you've done. And I think what hit me the most is realizing that Jesus is that for me. And I know that sounds silly. Like, of course it is. That's what you do. You're a pastor. You Jesus professionally. But I think we get so caught up in trying to find other places and other avenues and other outlets to take our pain, to take our hurt, to take our loneliness that don't satisfy us, that we forget that literally we can come to Jesus and truly be welcomed and ugly cry on his feet, that we can be that intimate with our brokenness and be accepted and welcomed. because I think one of the things that has hit me so hard is I know for a fact I've tried to depend on other people to meet my emotional needs of brokenness and sadness and hurt and all these things. And realistically speaking, when you put that weight on other people, you just find yourself getting hurt more, because other people can't take the full weight of everything you've done or the truth of who you are, or they start to be selfish or whatever other reason. But just that beautiful moment where this lady just dropped tears on Jesus's feet, I think just reminded me that's who I want to be. That's what I want to do. I want to be that person that I can take my pain just to Jesus. I know that's pretty simple, but just wanted to share it. It's not packaged in a geeky package or anything like that, but man, it's just been my heart lately, and I wanted to drop that out there for you. So please know I'm not disappeared. I'm not off the map. Haven't quit. Not given up. None of that. Just in a place where got a lot going on, and doing the best I can with the resources and time that I've got. And I don't think if I even mentioned, but GalaxyCon turned out really well. The church service there was fantastic. We had more people at GalaxyCon's church service in Raleigh than I did at the same service time at my church at home. So that's awesome. But yeah, it's just life has been full and busy, and we're going into the fall and winter season, and I'm hoping that things are going to keep going in a positive direction, and that I'll keep growing and suck less and all of these things. But just want you to know I love you, and I'm praying for you, and Jesus is the person that you can go to. And if you want to talk about any of the ideas we mentioned here on the podcast, comments away. Shoot me an email at faithandfandom@gmail.com. Hit me up in the Facebook inbox. All of those things. And just know that I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that you're along for this journey.